In this video presentation, we're going to be covering Console Option Overview for Design, Library, and Layers. To open up the console options, we select Tools and drop it down to Options, and we have Console Options at the top of the tree. There are two separate option files in Footprint Expert. Console options are for the individual user to set your design units, colors for your layers, your library for your library path. But first, we're going to cover the design options, and we're going to be primarily focusing on this video on the units. The units are millimeters, micrometers, mils, and inches. 90% of all library parts created today are created in millimeter units. So that's what we're going to be focusing on in this video. We do have units for millimeters, micrometers, inches, and mils. And I want to explain the numbers. The numbers are, we have minimum and maximum. Minimum can never be greater than maximum, of course, because maximum is the maximum. And the 2 means 2 places to the right of the decimal point. That means that we're going to be rounding off the units as we enter the units into the calculator for the component package dimensions, 0.01 millimeter increments minimum. That means if you type in 0.1 for a dimension, the calculator will automatically add the trailing 0. So it gets a 0.10, 2 places. Maximum will be 3 places. So the user could go ahead and type in a maximum of 3 places for the package dimensions or the terminal lead size. If you type in 4 or 5 dimensions that are to the right of the decimal point, it'll round it off to 3. Now you can go all the way up to 6 in both places. But always remember that the minimum has to be equal or less than the maximum units. And these are for all your unit for resolution. Like for mils, 0 would mean that if you're working in mil units, 0 means that everything's rounded off into the nearest mil integer. If you're going to use fractions of a mil, then you're going to want to pump this up to 1. Okay? And if you pump it up to 1, then it'll be a fraction of a mil. But in the mil unit world, I don't think that users use fractions of a mils, so the default value is just 0, 0, and everything's rounded off into 1 mil increments. Then we drop down into the calculated footprint. In the calculated footprint, the pad size is rounded off into 2 places. These are just the default values. The user can change these values to whatever you want. If you want 0.1 millimeter pad size, in other words, you want your pad length and your pad width to be rounded off into 0.1 millimeter increments, then you would just change this pad size units to 1 for pad size. If you want your pad place to be in 0.1 millimeter increments, you would change your pad place to 1. The default is 2 in both places. That means that your pad size and your pad place will be rounded off into 0.01 millimeter increments. And if you want it more granular than that, then go ahead and change it to 3 and 3. Or you can have your pad size at 2 and your pad place 3, or whatever combination you want. Just one little note that the pin pitch is not subject to any of these values. The pin pitch is the pin pitch. So if your pin pitch is 0.635, irregardless if you have a 2 for a pad place, it's going to ignore that because the pin pitch overrides and overrules. It's the ruling factor. And that's it for this presentation of the console options for the design units.
Simplify, standardize, and automate an entire IPC and IEC compliant library. Detailed, accurate, reliable, professional. Highest quality footprints and 3D step models, clicks away. Many companies worldwide are easily generating their CAD libraries. You should too. Get a fully functional Footprint Expert Evaluation license for any CAD format and demo today. Contact us at pcblibraries.com or call 847-557-2300.